a lot of times with my clients and they have been through a relationship and now they're in that healing period, sometimes they feel like, oh, I can't date and heal myself. And I'm like, why
Mm,
not? Because it's all about what your perspective is on dating. Like you were saying, like it feels draining, but what if we were to reframe that to dating is something that's light and fun and it's something that I get to connect with someone and there's no strings attached and there's no heaviness. One thing that helps me, especially with being a therapist and what keeps me grounded, is
mhm,
like knowing my why. If I'm in alignment with my why, which
mm,
is like myself, my family, like then everything else just kind of falls into place. With certain energies of like helping people, sometimes you can get people that want to drain you and take from you, and they can create an imbalance. That's where I'm like, hey, you are
mhm.
taking away from my why. And if you do that, then I do have to put in a boundary. So I always say, like, am I saying yes to others and no to myself? And
Mm.
you really have to think about what's serving you and what's not.
Hi, welcome to Intimate Chats with Jess. My name is Jessica. I am an astrologer. On Intimate Chats, I like to bring people in the spiritual, wellness, holistic, people who are into helping others, but through different mediums. Give them a platform, a space to share their story, to share their insight, to share what they are passionate in. And then I like to pull up their astrology and show how their astrology aligns with their story, and it's really cool to just see astrology in a real person's life. And today I have a really, really, really special guest that I'm so excited for because I've been manifesting her. And I don't know if you even know, but I've been really wanting to talk to people in the more like psychology space, because it's like honestly a part of me that actually went to school to be a psychologist. I didn't finish, but because like then a lot of stuff, other stuff popped up in my life. But it's always been something I've been really into, and I've always liked the merging between the psychology and spirituality. So we have Tony here today. Tony, could you give us a little brief about where you're from, and then like your background, or like, well, more of just like your actual title, because I don't know if I'm doing it justice.
Yes. Hi, my name is Tony Privado. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas, Idaho, and South Carolina. I'm also a spiritual coach. I read tarot, psychic mediumship, Reiki master. So I definitely find ways to like kind of incorporate the mental health, the spirituality, and it's all about the mind body connection and hopefully helping people on their journey of becoming the best versions of themselves.
Okay, so I like to start off by diving a little deeper into like who the guest is, and I like to take you back into like memory lane, and I feel like this is kind of in your lane anyways. I'm going to ask you to tell us who was who was Tony as a kid. Take us back to Tony as a kid, and then merge us into Tony as a adolescent or a teenager, and then who is Tony now as an adult.
Tony, as a child, was an only child, had a really great relationship with my dad. He's Tony, I'm Tony. Very studious. I'm not sure if you want me to bring up like my chart, but very studious, very into school. No one had to tell me to study. I pretty much made A's and B's. Very organized. In organizations, I was in the honor society. I was on dance team. I love volunteering. I loved animals. Just a lot of like community based things. I guess high school adolescent Tony was really focused on like drill team and being social and things like that. Um, then went into college. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do. Went into accounting, and then I was a financial analyst for years. Um, didn't quite feel like that was my calling. I kind of bounced around from job to job. And then I landed on one day during COVID of becoming a therapist. And I really feel like that point in 2020, like literally changed my life because if anyone has knows about the process of becoming a therapist, all of your master level homework is about yourself. So like if you do the work, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of things that come out of your subconscious mind. Like, I don't know, I almost feel like it was like a rebirth and I was able to learn more about myself and like things that I've gone through and, wasn't aware of how it impacted my life. So, a lot of times people ask me like why I became a therapist. And I'm like, of course to help people in a certain lifestyle, but I feel like I became a therapist to like learn more about myself. And I'm very curious. I love learning about people and their habits. And most importantly, like I love helping people connect the dots because like that's just my jam. Like when I'm in session and I'm able to like, okay, that's the problem and like a perspective shift and reframing. Like I love that because it's something that's so intangible that just helps people change their lives. And yeah, adult Tony. I'm a mother of three. We've been with my partner for about 17 years. So, I'm really big on family, really big on like having a really tight knit circle. I'm very private with my private life. Most people don't even know I have kids. But yeah, overall, I'm really present on social media, YouTube. I do tarot and stuff like that. But ultimately, just on my soul's journey, just trying to, be in alignment with my purpose.
Mm. Oh, wow. Could you tell us, well, thank you for sharing that. I'm interested in knowing like how you got connected during COVID, because that seems like a big theme for a lot of people of like this awakening, this transition happening, this aha, this like that opening up their kind of path. So how did you fall into that? And
Yeah, so I think really it really starts at my Saturn return.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that's when my best friend, my dad passed away. And then once he passed away, it's like everything just changed. And then the universe had it set up to where I met my mentor. She's a well-known psychic medium in the US, and she was just able to like mentor me and guide me. Then after meeting her, I ping-ponged and found my Reiki master teacher and I got into that. So it was like this whole world that I wasn't aware of. And I feel like nothing's an accident because while I'm working on this and getting connected with my guides, when I was a financial analyst, I almost felt like it was a shell of me. And I think with COVID, it really triggered like, hey, we have to do something different because we don't want to go into management. I don't want to manage people. Like it just wasn't like giving me life. Like I literally had to make myself go there. So when COVID happened and we had the opportunity to work from home, I was like, okay, like what's the plan? And me like secretly loving school, I was like, okay, I heard a voice that said, won't we go back to school? And I'm like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? And then I was like, well, I want to work from home. I want to have my own business. I want to connect with the people that I want to connect with. I don't want anybody like breathing down my neck, telling me what to do, going in the office. Like I'm a Gemini rising, so I don't like all that confinement. And I was like, I want freedom of time and freedom of resources. And I literally heard a voice say, we should go back to school and let's help people. And then that's when I looked up on therapy and got with a really great program, the University of Cumberland's in Kentucky. It was 100% virtual. I had amazing professors, and I literally was just like, I'm gonna go back and get my master's. Like I didn't have a
Yeah.
plan, I didn't have an idea. And while those 2 years of, working from home and things like that, I graduated in 2022, still being a financial analyst and like doing my internship and seeing clients was really hustling. And then when it was time to go back in the office, I put in my notice and I was like, this is just not serving me anymore. And it's just like everything worked out so effortlessly. And yeah, now I'm here.
See, since you sprinkled in the Gemini, I really, 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 really admire Gemini's energy to like, I literally look at them like an octopus or something. That is like how I see the energy because, octopuses have different like multiple arms and they're able to like do so many things at once. And I'm just kind of like, and they make it look so fucking easy. Like for me, I'm just like, gosh, like I'm here just focused on this one thing and trying to stay focused, and y'all just got like all these arms doing holding all different things. Like, how do you feel like you're able to do it? Does it come? Are you even aware that you're able to do it naturally? And it seems like there's some enjoyment in it. It's like, how do you feel with that? Are
Yeah, I like love all the things. Like I love to-do lists. I love working on different projects. I have a very busy energy about me.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like with that busy energy, I think with a lot of heavy Gemini placements or stelliums, you
Mhm.
could have high anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't really consider myself anxious
Mhm.
because I'm very creative. I'm really big with movement, and I really notice how much I do. And I remind my clients, like, be a human being, not a human doer. So I remind myself of that. But my partner is a Capricorn rising, which has that worth ethic,
Mhm.
but at the same time, there's a lot of caution of like,
Mhm.
how are you able to get done 50 things and still be okay? And I'm
Yeah.
like, but I like that. Like, I think certain activities like recharge me, and then other activities drain me. So I just have to kind of figure out, especially with that Pisces in the 10th house, what are the things or people that recharge me, and what are the things that drain me. And I think that's why boundaries are so important. Like, because I am a doer, I need to be around people that give me that good energy exchange. Like, if I have people just draining me and taking away from me, I'm very, very comfortable with my boundaries, and I will remove those people from my lives.
Mhm.
So I can like just be the best self that I can be, because I feel like between creativity and curiosity, I feel like those are the things that I just
Mhm.
focus on
Mhm.
every day.
Yes, yes, definitely. Creativity and curiosity. Honestly, I feel like you got that's like winner combination. Like, because you have to be open, right? You have to be flexible, especially with the spirituality. Like when spirit or like tells you to move, and if you're like, okay, but a lot of people don't have that. There's resistance, and then that's how you block a lot of things. But also sometimes I feel like with Gemini energy, and I wonder if you have this, it's like, yes, you have the like, yeah, I'm going wherever my like, especially because you have that Piscean energy. It's like wherever it calls, I'm going. Do you find though, sometimes you can be like a little scattered and you need to like reground yourself into like the things that you actually like want to like really like prioritize? Do you feel, or are you able to balance everything okay? But so do you get that question?
Yeah, no, I get it. And I think that's something I've kind of refined over time. My moon is in Aquarius as well.
Mhm.
And I have quite a bit of planets in my sixth house and my seventh house. So I feel like
Ah.
with my sixth house, especially being in Scorpio, I think the way I balance that is setting my intentions,
Mm,
having quite a bit of movement in my life.
mm,
So I'm not so sedentary, because then I can become restless.
mm,
Um,
mm,
but the thing is, like, once I put my mind to it, like, I mean, I can do everything. I can cook, I can have sessions, I can, wash the dog, and then it's like 3 o'clock, and I'm like, what's next? Because
mm,
it's just how it's really, I guess, finding the balance between the outer world and the inner world. And I think a lot of times with my Aquarius moon, wanting to like it can like detach. So then I can be in my Gemini land doing, detached from my inner world. And then that's when my immune system can be compromised or I feel drained. So I think keeping that mind and body connection is really important.
mm.
But I do, my partner is always like, okay, I need you to chill out and I need you to just not do anything.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Honestly, I can relate. I have a honestly my like who I look up to as a couple is like one of my cousins, and she's a Gemini and he's actually a Capricorn. So it's funny that you mentioned this. And he's so chill. Like he's fine with just like work doing his work and then coming home and like chilling. And she's just like "Da, da, da," like always on the move, always on the move. So it is like that. What's next? And I always think the energies are so funny to see.
Yes, yes, because I guess in my big three, I don't have any Earth.
Mhm.
So with my partner, the Capricorn rising, Aquarius. So I guess Aquarius Sun, the Capricorn rising, and then the Sagittarius Moon, it would be fire, air, and Earth. And I don't have anything holding me down. So I don't really
Mm.
know at this point what's really grounding me. I think one thing that grounds me is my spirituality. I
Mhm,
notice when I get away from like connecting with my guides,
mhm,
asking for signs, checking in with tarot, I know things get a little weird outside.
mhm,
So the more I'm connected with my guides and I'm clean, one thing that really helps me is like including my daily practices and habits and including my spirituality in it, because then I'll never forget, like,
mhm,
oh, you didn't set your intentions, or oh, you're cleaning, throw some Florida water in it, or it feels weird in here, let me smudge.
mhm.
So just checking in with my intuition.
Yes, very aligned with you with your Scorpio rule 6th house. Definitely needing to do that for sure, for sure. Wow, wow. So do you often feel grounded? I mean, not, well, do you feel grounded like currently and like regularly, or are you able to, because are you always hitting it, or it's like, oh, I can feel it. Let me pull out my toolbox and do what I need to do.
Yeah, I think it's like slow and steady wins the race. I think it's one of those things where I kind of always need to be checking in, like either asking for a sign or setting my,
Mhm,
intuition. One thing I like to do is like every day, like checking in, like where's my energetic bandwidth,
mhm.
because, as women, like would you say like we're like ruled by the moon
Yeah.
essentially?
Mhm.
So it's like the cycles of our body and stuff like that.
Mhm,
So it's like sometimes I can overschedule myself
mhm.
and then not knowing, okay, well next Tuesday I'm gonna be drained. Like there's certain things I can't really like predict.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, just checking in with my energy to see how I am. Like, do I need to reschedule something? Like, I guess always just considering myself,
Mhm,
because it's like with having a family, I think about others. With having clients, I think about others. But then I also have to make sure like I'm always thinking about myself first.
mhm,
So I'm able to pour into other people's cups. But it is easy to burn out.
yeah,
It's like trial and error. It's
yeah,
like, how do I feel? Because my thing is like, how do I feel on this journey?
mm, mhm. Yeah, honestly, so true. I feel like the Aquarius of, like, helping everybody and needed to check in with myself, like, totally, because I literally just did a post about that, like, you don't even realize it because you're naturally, especially with the Gemini energy, I feel like Gemini is like, "Yes." That is, like, your word. And then because like but then you're like, oh shoot, you got all these yeses you like agreed to, and you want to like mentally, but then you got to listen to the other half of you that like want to be able to like chill, and do your own thing and recharge and all that stuff. But then with the Aquarius too, so dang, yeah, you definitely have to be like checking in with yourself.
No, for sure. Because it could be one thing of like, oh, I'll sign up for the parent chaperone for the field trip. And then it's like April comes and I'm like, oh, I signed up for that. But the thing is, like, one thing that helps me, especially with being a therapist and what keeps me grounded, is
Mhm.
like knowing my why. If I'm in alignment with my why, which
Mhm.
is like myself, my family, like, then everything else just kind of falls into place.
Mhm.
Um, and sometimes with that, with certain energies of like helping people, sometimes you can get people that want to drain you and take from you,
Yeah.
and they can create an imbalance. And I think that's where that Aquarius moon. I think of like the Queen of Swords. That's where I'm like, hey, you are
Mhm.
taking away from my why. And if you do that, then I do have to put in a boundary. And I am guilty of ghosting. I will ghost people sometimes because it's like if I communicate,
Mhm.
what you are doing and
Mhm.
how it's impacting me and you don't change your behavior,
Mhm.
then I understand that, maybe you don't have the tools in your toolbox to understand. So then
Mhm.
I have to remove
Yeah.
myself.
And that is not your, I'm glad that you, well, first of all, wait, what you said? You're taking away from my why. That's a bar or like something around that. That needs to be like a discern. That's a way to have your discernment radar on. You said something where you were like, "Oh, I leave or I cut them off if I see that they don't have the tools." But for me, and I think it's common to feel like you want to give people those tools. But for you, through your work, you have that discernment to know, like, it's not my job to.
Yeah. Yeah, because in work, it's my job to meet you where you're at. So if you're
Mm,
over there, then I have to nudge closer. But in real life, like I say, like I'm not nice, I'm kind, and my kindness is a privilege. So if people are not treating my kindness with a privilege, then I will remove it. But typically, if you leave any type of relationship before the person is done, that's when they're going to act crazy. And that's when I'm like boundaries. And now I got that Scorpio sixth house. So it's like if you try to impose yourself, I will disappear.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Dang, you hear that, guys? That's how you do it. That's how you do it. But also on the other end of it, do you feel I feel like you gotta cut off a lot of people with that kind of because there's a lot. How do you feel? I want to say naturally, like what comes like lonely sometimes, like with that, or do you or does that help you just wean it through the like you got your people, your niche, like you're good. Because I where are you with that?
Yeah, so like I truly believe like the only relationship that you have in your life that's permanent is the one with yourself.
Yeah.
And everyone else in your life is seasonal, whether it's 10 months, 10 years, or even you can have someone in your life for 80 years,
Mhm,
but you only have yourself. I only have my experiences.
mhm,
I don't know other people's experiences.
mhm,
So I always say like, am I saying yes to others and no to myself? And
mm,
you really have to think about what's serving you and what's not. And I think a lot of times we can think, you know, this person has been my friend since middle school. They're going to be my forever friend. But the thing is, I truly believe that love is not unconditional. It's conditional. Because if you
oh,
are coming in my house and this is hypothetical, coming in my house in the middle of the night and stealing my TV, but saying like, "But I'm your sister." And it's like, "No, but you know, I have to label you as like a threat or an enemy, whether you're my sister or not." So I think that's a whole nother dynamic of like labeling people with this privilege or this title, but their behaviors do not align with it. Because if you have a friend that's always dumping on you and going through, you know, really tough things, and then she's putting that on you, how do you think that's making you feel energetically? And I don't think people understand that you only have so much energy every day.
mhm,
And I always think, how and who do I want to spend my energy on? And I want to say a good 60% of my energy should be on myself
mhm,
because that's how I'm going to recharge. But then if I do spend it on other people, like, am I being intentional? Even like the stuff that we ingest on social media,
mhm,
you know, that can drain a lot of your energy as well. So, um, I've, I think I've come from the place of, and I think we've talked about this, the relationship with my mom and it not being the best. She taught me how to have very strong boundaries. But the thing is, it was like a scale, right? My boundaries were so strict. It was strict. It was strict over here, and I would just cut people off, and that was not healthy.
mhm,
So then now I'm moving like more in the middle.
mm,
So it's like now I'm having the conversations, and if there's a rupture, I will, you know, try to have the conversation and see where it goes.
mhm,
Um, but, you know, I've gotten better with, like, not as ghosting, but
mhm,
I also do believe that, you know, as you move along your journey, like, there are gonna be other soul contracts and relationships that are gonna be activated. So am I open to new people coming in my life? Yes,
mhm,
because I feel like they're either a mentor or there's a lesson that needs to be learned or maybe gifts are gonna be activated. But it's kinda like we're almost like a little Sims avatar, and it's like, yes, I'm gonna have more people come in my life, but as I grow older, I'm able to vet people much better in my life. And I
mhm,
always tell my clients, everyone in your life should serve a purpose, whether it's a brunch friend or whether it's a go to Hobby Lobby friend. But would you truly have a friend that you say, oh, well, this friend is to drain me, or this friend is to use me for mimosas and brunch on Sundays and never pay? No one talks like that. So you have to look at the action and you have to look at what they're saying, like, are those aligning?
mm. How do you bring that into relationships? Like with the
So
partner that you choose?
so relationships are relationships, right? Whether it's romantic or whether it's platonic. But my thing is like with romantic relationships, I think we should normalize that everybody's relationship should be very customizable. You know,
Mhm,
relationship should look very like a fingerprint. It should look very different, right? The only person that should be in alignment or care or consider like what I want in a relationship, or is the person that I'm with, right?
Mm.
So one thing I focus on are like my must-have list or like my love languages, like how is that person going to like, align with my values and non-negotiables. You should go into like when I'm, going into like looking and dating and stuff like that. There are certain things that I'm not going to accept. I'm not going to settle for. I'm not going to compromise because I especially think as women, we are taught to serve, right? We are taught to compromise. We are taught to be, more pleasant and like forget that. Like, no, like because I was listening to a psychologist and she was saying that men will date many women to pick the best one, and then women will date one or two men or whoever, and they will date one or two for monogamy. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh my gosh, like just think about how you're shortchanging yourself by
Mhm.
doing that.
So is that a nudge from spirit that because right now I'm like newly single and I don't like I feel like in astrologically speaking this is a good time for me to date and like just have fun and do all of that but but I'm also a Pisces rising. I have Pisces energy too, so that sounds very draining to me. Like I don't want to have to go through multiple people, and plus, I just feel like I have such a okay. In my astrology, I feel like I am a magnet for like I'm just I have some healing to do around my fear, and also I don't like that. I don't really. Dating doesn't sound fun to me. It sounds draining. I'm just kind of like I do want to like get straight to. But hearing you say that, I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of times with my clients and they have been through a relationship and now they're in that healing period, sometimes they feel like, oh, I can't date and heal myself. And I'm like, why
Mm,
not? Because it's all about what your perspective is on dating. Like you were saying, like it feels draining, but what if we were to reframe that to dating is something that's light and fun, and it's something that I get to connect with someone, and there's no strings attached and there's no heaviness. Now, what I would say is think about the access, right? Like if you don't want that heavy energy, then maybe you should start off with like coffee dates or daytime dates, really light, because then you want to decide, do they get access to the next level of dating, which would be activity dates? We have to get the activity dates because we want to know, how do you handle conflict? How do you handle things under pressure? Like, how is your emotional intelligence? Because they can tell you all day, but you want to see, the things. Then you have nighttime dates. People usually do the opposite. Like when you're first dating, you should not let people know where you live. Like, because the thing is, you don't want any strings. Because I always say, like, no one has to like respect your boundaries. So you don't want to give people access to you that you want to revoke. If you want to revoke your access and you've only been on 3 dates, it's nothing but a, hey, this is not working for me anymore. Block, you're done.
mm,
No,
mhm,
you can't come up to my job. You can't call my mom. Like you can't because you don't have access to me like that. So,
mm,
you
mm.
are ready, maybe thinking about like what are your intentions when you want to date.
Yeah, yeah, that's so good. See, you guys are getting a little sprinkle session with Tony already. I'm already like, okay, okay. Oh wow. Okay, received, received. Okay, so we definitely have been like on we've definitely learned a lot about you and you've given us a lot. Sorry, I'm over here like taking all the time over here. Okay, focus. All right, so next thing is your passion. So do you have a topic or something on your heart that you're really passionate about that you want to spend some time to share?
Um, yeah, like I think ultimately it's, people becoming like their best self or their best friend. I think on this journey, it's really about how do you want to experience this journey? And like the most important person in your life is yourself. And it's like I talk to a lot of people that don't even consider themselves. And we are in the epidemic of loneliness. And I think that alone, if you don't consider your whole person in consideration, like of course you're going to be lonely, because you can be in a room full of people and feel lonely. or you could be by yourself and not feel lonely, you know? So I think that's the most important thing, like really trying to help people with them finding their value and like redefining what that looks like, because I don't want to change people. Like I think people are whole and complete just the way that they are, but if you don't like yourself, then why is anybody going to like you? I always say, like, we're mirrors. Like, you're walking around and you're a mirror to people. So if you feel triggered, and triggers are not anybody else's responsibility, it's your responsibility when you're triggered, okay? Because there's a lot of terms out there like, you're triggering me. And it's like, okay, then go regulate yourself and pull up your big girl panties and figure it out, you know? So we are all mirrors, and really finding ways to tap into your autonomy. That is taking accountability for your emotions and your actions, because just because your emotions are valid, that doesn't mean your behaviors are valid. Because you can be angry, but you can't throw a drink in someone's face. Like those things don't correlate. Um, and that's all based on your values. I feel like a lot of people just don't have any values. And when you have the values, that's going to guide you to your desires. That's why a lot of people are just kind of confused on what to do next. And they're just kind of stuck.
Mm. So yeah, establishing the value, that's big. Oh, those things. Yeah, yeah, those triggers and boundaries vary, and also like loving like yourself. So with the triggers, and that's something that I definitely had to learn as a part of my healing as well. I had to reframe my like unravel uh the story based off of like experiences of like with the triggers, because I have come from like people who, if do you feel like you should avoid people who trigger you? And is it, and then also the blame of like, yeah, you trigger me, so it's your fault. Like the blaming and then the avoiding. Um,
Mm.
how do you feel about that?
So being around people that trigger you is kind of like, it just depends, right?
Mhm.
Because if someone is triggering you, but they are, disrespecting you, if you
Mhm.
don't feel if you feel unsafe, things like that, then, yeah, like you shouldn't be around somebody like that, because it's almost like they're trying to trigger you, whether it's conscious or subconscious. But, we can get triggered all day by different things from our childhood that have nothing to do with other people. And with that, it's like some people become a victim of their triggers. And it's like, don't lash out on that person because you're triggered. It's like maybe that's a wound, a past wound that's coming up in the present. Because if you have any big emotions come up, I always say that's a part of you saying, hey, I need help, I need assistance. So a lot of times when people are triggered or they're feeling big emotions or they're feeling elevated, they will put the responsibility on the other people. And I created a needs checklist, because people don't aren't aware of what their needs are, because you have your physical needs like, shelter, food, water, rest, and all of that, but you have emotional needs, right? Validation, reassurance, to be understood. Now, can people around you fill up your cup with your emotional needs? Yes. But my thing is, what are you doing to fill up your emotional needs? What are you doing to fill up your creativity needs or your intellectual needs? The thing is, a lot of times when you're feeling some type of way, I think most of it is on you, because your internal world is going to reflect your external world. And by the time it gets to your external world, maybe it's old scripts. We all tell ourselves stories, and like, some of us have stories on replay and we're wondering, why am I manifesting these type of peoples and situation in our lives? And it's like, you are your beliefs. You are emitting these frequencies out and attracting in these situations. And, we really got to be mindful of our internal dialogue, because I always tell my clients, imagine that you're a witch or you're a warlock, and every time you open your mouth, you are speaking out spells. What kind
Mhm.
of spells are you speaking out today? Like, that's why I start my day off with, you know what? Today's going to be a good day.
Mhm.
Even if there's any speed bumps or challenges, I know that I'm capable, but today's going to be a good day, because some people wake up and with their energy and their mood, they are telling the universe, hey, I want a terrible day.
Mhm.
No one says that, but their actions and their energy show that.
Mm. Man, man. That's so good. All of that is so, so good. Well, how are we with time right now? Okay, so so you said you have a checklist, so I definitely want to like talk about that. But what are the first steps that people can do to because you mentioned like you have to explain like your like people need to have a better relationship with themselves or how did you start and where do they start with that?
Yes, yes. So definitely focus on me, myself, and I, right? And with the checklist is so cool because if you are feeling elevated or anything like that, you can just look at the list and kind of figure out what do I need in this moment? You know, some people are dehydrated. Most people I talk to don't get enough sleep. So if you don't get enough sleep, if you knew you had like trash sleep last night, what are you going to do for your future self? Are you going to plan a power nap? Are you going to how are you going to be proactive with helping yourself with creating that balance? But yes, it's really focusing on your needs and also every year, every other year, we should be taking love language quizzes and
Mhm.
figuring out how we like to receive love. Because I'll talk to a lot of couples and they're like, my partner's not doing this, they're not doing that. And I'm like, well, what are you not doing for yourself? You know what I mean? Like, are you providing yourself with self validation? Like, when's the last time that you've said that you're proud of yourself? So, really, a lot of the work is between you and yourself. That's who you're in competition with. But
Mhm.
at the same time, it's compassionate competition. Like, if we do feel like we're failing, or if we do feel like we're, not showing up as our best self, then how do you support yourself in that moment? Because when you tear yourself down, when you're ugly to yourself, it decreases your motivation levels, and then you're going to procrastinate, and then that's how you go down the trail of depression. So there's always checks and balances that we can kind of do, but really the work is between you and you. Nobody is holding you back. Nobody, if you're blaming people, I always say, like, if you are telling stories about your past or something that happened in second grade where someone pushed you down, you have a imaginary backpack that you're carrying full of bricks. And I tell people, imagine how many heavy bricks you have in there. And that's what therapy is so helpful, because we take out the brick one time, one at a time. Um, but just being mindful, if some people walk around feeling all this heavy energy, and it's because they're carrying all this stuff that they've never processed and they just suppressed in their body.
Yeah, yeah, and then if you're a natural like how I used to be of like, "Oh, let me take that backpack off of you, sweetie, because you need to let me put it on me when I got a backpack that I don't know about, but I don't want to look at that, so I'm just taking your backpack and helping and thinking I'm
Yeah.
helping."
And that's the thing, because we can't do other people's work. So even when, you're in a partnership, if your partner is struggling, yes, we can support, but I can't do someone else's work for them, because when I try to do someone else's work, like a partner or a child, it's only going to drain my energy. It's probably going to frustrate them. It's not going to help them. If anything, it hurts them, because we all have to learn how to regulate. We have to learn how to reflect. Like, we have to learn how to do those things. And sometimes when we're helping people, we can actually be hurting them.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, no, totally. I've learned that now and you hear it. You hear it all day long, but um I think at some point, like at least through my experience and that's what I in my belief like what ended up being the hurting part of I think when you try to like heal or help someone um and you think that you've done it. And then I think a lot of people may be dealing with this, like, this is a big theme astrologically of like healing past like heartbreak or betrayal, like, oh, I helped you, I did all of this, like that, but no, I believe that you made the person believe that they were being helped,
Mhm.
but they never did that work on themselves, so so there's a illusion of like this like healedness, but it really you just spent like so much time draining yourself, and the person wasn't. I think in order for you, the person that people and you can clarify to help themselves, they have to know the things that they need help on, and if they don't really have acknowledgement or understanding of it, then they were not able to. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense because ultimately it's kind of almost like when I'm in session with a client and they're telling me about their struggles with their mom or their struggles with their partner, and they're like, they need therapy. And I'm like, "Mhm,
Mm.
but we're in here for you, therapy. So let's take your mirror and turn it towards you, because if your partner or your mom doesn't feel like anything is wrong with them, then why would they need therapy? And that's the thing. You can't want it more than they want it.
Mm.
You know, they have to be the ones to go, you know what? I'm tired of this. I want to lose weight.
Mm.
Can you help me with accountability?
Mm.
Now you can come in with your cape and you can help them, right? But if they
Mm.
sit up there every day and they eat McDonald's and they don't want to go to the gym, and they just complain about their body and they're not happy,
Mhm.
they are essentially wanting to stay in a state of suffering.
Mhm. They have to identify the source or
And you
what
can either
is.
go with them.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. That's so true. That's so true. It is. Yeah, that's so true. Wow. So, where can they find your worksheet or I
Yeah,
mean, what do you call it? What would you call
yeah, it's a checklist.
Yeah.
So if you go to like my social media, like my YouTube channel is light minded. You'll find me on there. On TikTok underscore light minded. You click my link tree, you will have, if you want to contact me for therapy, the checklist is free. You can just click it and you can have it. I'm planning on creating some more, but yeah, on social media, on Instagram, it's all light minded. And I just talk about, just mindset and, regulating your body, a little splash of spirituality, of how we can connect to our inner voice.
Mm.
But yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. We have a little bit of time. What time is it? How are you with time? Because I know we didn't talk a little bit over. Do you have a little bit extra time to talk astrology?
Yeah.
Okay. Although I did give you a reading, so we already kind of know. Usually I'll like pull up your chart. Are you comfortable with your chart being up?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. And
Gonna let
then
secrets.
what were you saying?
I said you're gonna let everybody know my secrets.
Oh, well, oh, wow, yeah. Coming from so much of a person with all that Scorpio energy. It's like, yeah, I even say for myself, like, I'm gonna put my chart out there at some point. I'm just like, people can look it up. So you are a seventh house Sagittarius Sun, Gemini rising, and Aquarius moon in the ninth house. So yeah, it totally makes sense. Like I already told you, I went over this, but I'm gonna do it really briefly. With your son being in the seventh house, that is very much like one-to-one partnership. So you are like born to help people relate to each other. Like that is like you're so good in that, and being able to see the balance and just like totally align with that. But with your Sagittarius energy, I feel like that you are helping people come to their truth about like who themselves and how they navigate throughout their lives or their problems, but you're bringing in the like in different ways. So like well, you don't use astrology. Although you're into do you use astrology?
I do. Sometimes my clients will come with their chart. And for example, I had one the other day and she was like, my Taurus moon. And I was like, ooh, like five senses, like, like what are the things that you're doing? Like the candles, the banana bread. And she was like, oh my gosh, like I literally have banana bread in the oven and candles. So I do try to like incorporate it when they are open to it.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll learn about their charts and they'll say, "Oh, can you send me information?" I'll send them like a cheat sheet so they can have that self-discovery and they can tell me what their birth chart means to them.
Mm.
And if I can give them a little help, then I will at that point.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, so you're totally that aligns for sure, for sure. And then also, I also would you say you're a funny person?
I think I'm hilarious. Like I feel like when I'm in session, I eat it up.
Oh, that's what I
It's
was
like
gonna say. Do you bring it in your session?
yes,
Good.
yes. Like I try not to overdo it because of my Scorpio placements. I think my humor gets a little dark. So I'll have to ask myself, Tony, is this appropriate? Because this is really funny. This is gonna smack, okay? But I do have a Capricorn rising partner, and he says like I'm the most unfunniest person. But when we're out, like it's like battle of the he thinks he's funnier, and but I know I'm funny. I know I'm shiny, so
You definitely are funny. I mean,
very
if I didn't know
likable.
you, I would be like, this is a funny person. And I could see them like using their humor and who they are through their like practice, like their sessions that you should totally. So I'm glad that you do that. Totally on point for sure. And that's so funny how you even brought in because you have a Scorpio Mercury. So yeah, you can like dark humor, you can go there. But good thing that you're aware, you're discerning of how they can take it.
Yes, especially like a lot of neurodivergent clients, they don't have the same sense of humor as other people. So their humor can be very dry and very dark, and I love it. I'm like, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, like making jokes about death or like yeah, the timing too of certain things. So totally understand that. That is so like cool to see like how that merges. And then yeah, with the Gemini rising, like very social. I mean, like once again, you have good stuff in your chart. Let me just tell you, you got like one of like a really good, I think, like thing. So you blessed. You blessed. Um,
Thank you. What makes you see the humor in the chart?
Sagittarius. Sagittarius are known to be like just funny people and they like to be around funny people.
Got
Because Sagittarius energy likes to have a good time. They don't like to be so serious. That's why the Capricorn energy, that's it's funny that you say you don't really well, you said in the astrology show that you don't merge well with or they're probably with Capricorn energy Capricorns because yes,
mhm.
Capricorns are serious. And they're literally opposite from Sagittarius. So I can
Yeah,
understand that. I can understand that energy. Because you're so mutable, you're so open. You're just like you kind of and Capri's like, what's going to happen if I do this? You're like mapping out like the yeah. So it can be kind of like a buzzkill kind of situation.
yeah, rain on my parade type thing. Yeah, so
Yeah, right.
I know right now, like Debbie Downer, I'm really focused like on my 10th house, and maybe my 11th because it's in the North Node, but I've been focusing a lot on like networking events and connecting with people, and I really want to like diversify my income. And I see like the impact of the one-on-one. So I can only imagine if I could get my voice to out to more people like Mel Robbins or Tony Robbins, like people like that's where I see myself. Like I still want to have like my private low key life, but when I am on stage, like, I can have that presence, but that's the goal. I don't know how it looks like, how it's going to come together, but I feel like I'm getting geared towards in the universe, putting people in my life to like write a book or do this activity or do this opportunity. So I'm just throwing pasta against the wall at this point and seeing what sticks.
Mm.
But I'm excited. I'm very hopeful for the future.
Yes, 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 yes. I totally see that happening for with you in your chart. I think you need to utilize. So yeah, the Gemini energy is lit up for you right now with that Uranus. So you're definitely needing to like use your voice, use your socialness. I think it's kind of like putting yourself out there. Like signing up, networking, like you said. But that is like you, and I see more of that happening right now. That I think I see the activation of the 11th house energy happening in like around February when Saturn, because Saturn is retrograde, so it's in your 10th house right now. So you're definitely like focusing on work, taking those things seriously, like your spirit, like you say you're doing lives or something, like you're trying to get that, but then also learning how to have more boundaries too with it. So it's like working but having boundaries and putting yourself out there more. For example, this like for you to be like on a podcast with someone and that kind of thing. But then that I think through you putting yourself out there, then you will get like intertwined with networks and like having more exposure, and then that's gonna open doors for you to like do things within community, which honestly aligns because I was gonna ask you or talk to you a little bit because I want you to like host something on healthy people healing, and like a little like whatever group thing. And so I think it's gonna start through your connections and like building your portfolio of doing like group stuff. Cause have you done anything with groups?
Yes, so I used to work in an IOP, which is intensive outpatient therapy, and I used to run a lot of groups, and
Oh,
there was a lot of resistance in my body for group because I feel like I'm better with one-on-one,
yeah.
like I'm like shinier, I'm able to turn on. Sometimes with groups, I feel like I'm a bit scattered, but
Mhm,
with doing the groups for a couple of months, it really helped me like learn how to like manipulate or navigate the energy differently
mhm,
than this. Cause this is easy for me. Like I feel like I just can like breathe and like get it, like read the room.
mhm,
But with a group of people, there's so many dynamics and ups and downs. Um, I don't know.
mhm,
I'm hoping that's what I'm gonna go. Maybe I'm not gonna have to navigate groups that much with that my 11th house being in Aries, coming back from that past life of Libra. So that's
mm,
the only thing. I am supposed to like connect with others and networking is gonna open up doors, but
yeah.
um,
Well,
even with Aries, it's about independence and
mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, no, no. 11th house is group. You're gonna be in community, but it's more of like you having because Saturn in your 11th house or just Aries ruling your 11th house anyways means that you're gonna have to be more like expressive and being able to put yourself out there, moving past the fear of like or like yeah within the group if you're with groups, and it also shows groups of people who are very passionate and expressive. That Aries energy, you're gonna there's gonna but therefore I guess you're going to need to like move past any fears honestly of that, and like kind of like using your voice, being able to navigate the group and not like doing the Libra quality, which I feel like uh just asserting yourself as a guest, so I would say within spaces, and through that you'll learn through experience, which yeah, well, aligns very very well. And then lastly with the Gemini, I mean with your Aquarius moon in the ninth house, very once again makes so much sense that you were so good in school. Like that, very, very studious, very good at wanting to learn and very great student and all of that. But definitely like you said, like wanting the freedom like during the pandemic, to do your work and all of that makes sense for Aquarius. Definitely doesn't need to be caged in and needs to be able to like have a space where they can kind of like utilize, do their own thing, learn the ways that makes you feel good, and have like the freedom to as well to explore all that you want to do and bringing that into your practice as well, like aligns very much so. Yeah. So,
Very
okay.
nice. And
Uh-huh. No, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say that's part of the great thing about being a therapist. Like we do consultations
Mhm.
and it has to be a good fit for me and it has to be a good fit for the client. So I think I also have that freedom and that autonomy to work with people that I feel energetically in alignment with. And like if I don't, then I can always refer them out. So I love me some options. So
Yes, 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 for sure. Big, big on that. And then very open to different beliefs. Like very such you're a really good I would recommend you without knowing you as a counselor or helper, because like someone who merges everything, we need more progressive, hello, future oriented. Like like you are like the start of that. So you are such a, and then you already have like you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. Next year's gonna be really, really. I'm excited for you and everything that you have coming. So I'm excited. And okay, well, I'm gonna link your social media, so just send that to me after we get off here. But yeah, thank you so much, Tony, for coming to get today. And I don't even need to say anything. You guys already know. Like, you guys got a good bit of her. Was there anything lastly that you wanted to say, or are you?
I'm all good. Thank you so much. I just appreciate your energy, and I appreciated the astrology show last time. So it's just always like a very good energy exchange with you. So thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Same, 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 same.